Hey, how's it going, guys, and welcome back. So someone sent this to me on Discord. This is an article from Screen Rant, so I'm always apprehensive as to any Screen Rant articles or just any of these game journalist articles that I generally will cover, but someone wanted to know my opinion on this, I guess, debate. So the title is of this article is Ash and Pikachu's retirement proves Digimon was always better than Pokemon. Now, this is already going to cause a big controversy because you have Digimon fans that say the Pokemon anime sucks. You have Pokemon fans that say Digimon sucks. Everybody just chill, all right? Let's talk. I've always preferred the Digimon anime to the Pokemon anime, like the seasons that I have seen from Digimon, because I felt like there was actual like progression in the Digimon anime, whereas Pokemon, see, the first, few seasons, they kind of had progression, like up until Hoenn when they kind of like did the reset. Ash was kind of progressing, and even then, like, he was getting better and better. In Sinnoh, we saw him make top 4, and then Unova was like the big, like, Ash is still 10, go screw yourself kind of season, right? And then obviously, like, they kind of started his progression again, but I do think I know where this is going. So let's read it, and I'll give you guys kind of my thoughts. I thought this would just be fun, keep it sort of casual today. Since both debuted in the late 90s, the Pokemon and Digimon anime franchises have been in a heated struggle for the hearts of the minds of collectible monster fans. While many may argue Pokemon has largely won the war, the recent retirement of the now top Pokemon trainer Ash Ketchum and Pikachu ultimately proves that Digimon was always the superior anime. The Pokemon franchise, which includes over 1,200 episodes and countless movies, is Ash Ketchum's kingdom. Until his retirement, Ash and Pikachu have appeared in nearly every project produced in the franchise. From a marketing perspective, having Ash and Pikachu as the face of the franchise has helped solidify the franchise in the public's mind and maintained its popularity. Their presence has undoubtedly helped the franchise become the juggernaut it is today, but even when they do not appear in a work such as Pokemon Evolutions, their influence is so strong fans still switched on in droves to see it. So I will say that, like, the replacement of Ash has been a thing that people have been asking for a long time. I do think that because they kept Ash so long and they reset his character, they never really aged him. He lost against Misty in a fight recently. I think his becoming world champion has really been bittersweet. I feel like they should have done a time skip between Sun and Moon and the recent season, like kind of aged him up a little bit so that he's more of like, he seems more competent, because even though he's world champion, they still make him seem like he's really incompetent. Like, even if his Corphish was like weak or whatever, like, he's supposed to be the best trainer in the world. Like, you're telling me, like, come on. Anyway. Pokemon anime's already proved how it can survive without Ash. While having Ash and Pikachu carry the Pokemon franchise might be great for marketing, it doesn't help the series create an engaging story. I agree with that. Conversely, Digimon may not have been able to develop the same public relations engine as Pokemon. Despite this, it was able to create a much more exciting and compelling anime. Digimon's anime success is based on its creative flexibility, diverse cast of main characters, and continuous ability to update the basic story. Rather than starting each series, film, or short around a specific but unchanging duo of primary characters, then iterating a connected story, Digimon starts from the broader idea and then creates a multiverse of stories all connected by Digimon. The broadness and basic concept makes for a much more sustainable franchise. So what I will say about Digimon is, this goes for the games, this goes for the anime, this goes for many of its aspects. Digimon has such a wide variance of quality in terms of like story and stuff like that, that you'll have some seasons of the anime that people just absolutely hate. You'll have some games that people just absolutely hate, but then you'll also have games that people absolutely love, and anime seasons that people absolutely love. So it's kind of like with Pokemon, I feel like there's a lot of like middling when the anime seems very middling to me. Like, there are obviously highlights and stuff like that. Like, I think the Diamond and Pearl and the X and Y animes are kind of like considered the best ones. So there's definitely a lot of variance in the Digimon anime, whereas Pokemon, you kind of have that same median. And then one thing I will say as well, whenever they do a Pokemon spin-off, usually, unless you're talking about like Pokemon Generations, or not Generations, sorry, Pokemon Origins, usually it's in the same Pokemon world. So for example, the Mega Evolution specials that featured Alan, those were taking place in the same world as the one that Ash lives in. But even when you have like multiverse, like with Pokemon Origins, they always follow the exact same rules. Whereas with Digimon in one anime might be ghosts, In another anime, they might be like just monsters. In another anime, they might live in the digital world. Like the origin of what Digimon are change between different mediums in the series. So in Digimon Survive, they're like these spiritual beings, kind of, right? But in Cyber Sleuth, they live in the network. So I will say that Digimon has higher highs in my opinion, but also much lower lows. Whereas Pokemon, while it has ups and downs, it's kind of like in the middle. But I will say that, like, I personally think that Digimon Adventure, and from what I've seen from Digimon Tamers, I personally think that those are better anime than the Pokemon anime, just because the Pokemon anime dragged out too far. They really should have probably retired Ash after Diamond and Pearl, in my opinion. Like, they should have just gotten rid of that hacker character that they had, beat him down, and then had him, like, I don't know, they could have had the Diamond and Pearl anime, then they could have had, like, a similar, like, kind of World Cup anime. Like, let's say Ash wins the league, then he trains, maybe has a time skip, something like that. He fights against the Elite Four from the Sinnoh region, then there's some sort of, like, World Cup tournament season, and then they go into Unova with a new character. That's what I think they should have done, personally, because Unova was supposed to be a reboot of the series anyways. Digimon experiments while Pokemon stagnates. For instance, the first two anime series in the franchise, namely Digimon Adventure 1 and 2, focused on Tai and his friends entering the Digimon world, becoming the Digidestined, and defeating evil forces. They're bent on both the real and digital world harm. The series established and built out the essential constructs of the Digimon world that have remained basically the same over the course of the franchise. However, in the third series, Digimon Tamers, the characters and overlying story change. The focus turns away from the new kids who must deal with Digimon appearing in the real world. While there is a significant change in the story, the basic plot line remains similar. In this way, Digimon is able to I would say the plot line's kind of different, right? Because Digimon Tamers is a completely different multiverse. They had completely different challenges. I would say it's quite different. But anyway, Digimon is able to keep old fans of the anime, as well as attract new ones to an updated franchise. Other than Digimon Adventure Tri and Digimon Adventure 2020, which update the original kids to modern times, all subsequent productions essentially reboot the franchise by introducing new characters who must deal with new Digimon worlds. Ultimately, what makes Digimon better is its focus on storytelling over hype. Rather than keeping the status quo, it takes a risk to show its characters evolve and grow, while continuously introducing new characters to keep things fresh. This forces creators to be active and responsive to their public rather than just giving them the same old story with a new skin. Clearly, Pokemon agrees that's the reason Ash and Pikachu will retire, in order to fuse new blood into their creaking system. Digimon's strategy did not create as large a fan base as Pokemon, but it did create a diverse fan base that has been every bit as dedicated as their Pokemon rivals and comfortable in the fact that they support a better product. So this is what I'm going to say. I don't think the Pokemon anime is what... Okay, before I say this, the Pokemon anime obviously had a major impact in the success of the Pokemon franchise. Nobody's denying that. But I don't think the Pokemon anime, over time, has been as influential as this author thinks. Like, I don't think Pokemon Black and White, the anime, did that much for Pokemon. I think by then Pokemon was already established. Honestly, by the time they really should have rebooted Ash, which I think was Gen 5, the Pokemon was already way more successful than Digimon, and Digimon was kind of in the background. I think what it comes down to with regards to Pokemon has a lot of aspects to it that make it more alluring than Digimon. With Digimon, you kind of have to be like the chosen Digidestined, whereas with Pokemon, it's a story of like anybody could be a Pokemon trainer. Anybody could like live in this world. Whereas I find a lot of RPGs that have you traveling to another world. You can think of like Devil Children, most of the SMT games, Dragon Quest, stuff like that. There's a little more of like a disconnect between the player and the world that's lived in. In Pokemon, this is just the normal world. People live with Digimon. Whereas with Digimon, you're traveling to a very foreign, unknown world. So I think Pokemon is a lot more, in terms of the games, is a lot more like relatable. Even though obviously there's like magical creatures and whatnot, I think it kind of appeals to a wider demographic. Whereas Digimon, it's a little less like relatable in that sense. Furthermore, another big thing, the Pokemon games have always been serialized. Yes, they take less risks, but in general, at least up until like Gen 6, the Pokemon games have been pretty good. They've always been like set up to work on handheld. They've always been a lot of fun. They've always had a lot of elements that attract a lot of people. You have shiny hunters are interested. You have competitive battlers that are interested. RPG fans might be interested, etc. Like it attracted a lot of people. Whereas Digimon games, again, just like the rest of the franchise, they're very hit and miss. Like, you might play Digimon World 1 and hate it. Then you might play Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and love it. You're not really going to find that much variance with Pokemon games. Like, sure, a lot of people haven't been happy in recent times, but it's not necessarily that they're not happy that it's a Pokemon game. They're just not happy that they haven't been putting in, like, a good amount of content, or the games are buggy. But the base Pokemon formula, which has been the same since the 90s, is still there. And I think that's a big part of why the franchise is successful, because you're always knowing what you're going to get. And I don't think that's a bad thing. The people that say Pokemon's stale, they should change the main franchise to like real-time combat, I disagree with that. I don't think Pokemon is stale. The tons of different fan games, they prove that people are fine with the regular, turn-based combat. The issue is, like, they need to expand the games beyond that. Like, not every story has to be exactly the same. Not every world has to feel so linear. I think those are the issues people have. But, so is Digimon better than Pokemon? I don't think so. I think Digimon has had anime seasons that were better than the Pokemon anime. I think they've had seasons that were worse than the Pokemon anime. I think Digimon has had games that are better than some of the Pokemon games. And I think Pokemon has had games that are better than some of the Digimon games. They're two very different franchises. They have different appeals. They have different demographics. And ultimately, like, the only real similarity is that one's called Pokemon and one's called Digimon. They both focus around, monster taming, but I don't think one is necessarily objectively better than the other. I like each franchise for different reasons. So, to the person that wanted to stay anonymous that DM'd this to me, that's my answer. I don't think either one is better. I think they just have different aspects to it. I think if Pokemon really wanted to, give their developers more time to make these games, a lot of people would be playing Pokemon games and actually enjoying them, instead of this weird sort of modern gaming thing where all these games are selling really well, like Modern Warfare 2, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but they're just going dead right after launch. Like, people aren't really caring about them beyond the initial purchase. And I think that that's something that could change if these game development studios start to give their developers more time and focus more on quality content rather than marketing. But anyways, that's sort of my thought. What do you guys think? Which one's better, Pokemon or Digimon? Do you have a nuanced opinion like me? Which anime do you like better? Which set of games do you like better? Let me know. I think this is an interesting discussion topic that's kind of existed since the 90s, but is, I guess, reinvigorated by this article. I want to say that Marcel Green, the person that wrote this, I don't think this is like a trash article. Like, I think they were very fair with their opinions. You might disagree with them, but I do think I know what they're getting at. It's not just hey guys, these characters could beat Goku and it's like fucking Choji from Naruto. So I think it's good. But anyways, all that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Special thanks to my patrons, especially Jim Hamilton, Dro Ghost, Dark Persona, and Exodus. And yeah, bye.